Hi Libra, welcome to your March 2018 love reading. It's Raina here. So I'm just shuffling the cards, lay them out. I like to put different piles here. Wow. 3 major arcana cards. So the first 3 cards. Well, we always like to end on that note. That's for sure. Interesting. Alrighty then, let me just look at this for 1 second. Okay. All right. Okay, well, first of all, let me just tell you how my mind works, or how I work. I don't know if you'd say it's mind. I like to think it's logic, not intuition at all, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. Those are just words. So when I'm looking at that heart of the matter, which is the Hierophant on the top row, I have 2 cards flanking it. One is the past position and one is the current position. So the past position is the Death card, and the situation right now is the Justice card. And the heart of the matter is the Hierophant. So the Death and the Justice card in a love reading usually means to me divorce. Okay? But what is at the heart of the matter? The Hierophant. What does the Hierophant represent? The Hierophant represents tradition, conformity. Sometimes this is cultural conditioning that makes a person feel like, I have to do this, I have to do that. But it can be religious conditioning. This is a card, obviously, you know, this is a papal kind of a dude. So this is also religious conditioning. So someone may know, so you may know that your marriage is over, but you can't do it because what will the neighbors think, what will your parents think, or what will God think? This is against our religion. This is against our, there's never been a divorce in my family. My parents have been married for 50 years. And I've only been, I had this wedding with hundreds of people, and I've only been married for 3 years. Are you kidding me? Libra is a sign that is not necessarily one of the more conservative signs, if you just want to look at it from that angle, but definitely one of the signs that cares what people think, that is afraid of disappointing others, is afraid of being rejected. And it's funny, Libra represents the Justice card. So the fear of some kind of judgment, but there's a word I'm looking for, a feeling of not being approved of. Why does Libra need approval so much? Why is Libra a people pleaser? I'm just going to ask you that question, because I really don't know myself. Other than Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus is about peace and harmony. Okay, Libra rules the 7th house of committed partnership. So there's that desire to be in a committed love relationship, a monogamous relationship. A Libra person typically does not want to be in an open marriage, in a relationship that doesn't have that sense of commitment. That's not typical for Libra. I'm not saying that it never happens, but I'm just saying that Librans want that, and anything that threatens that is going to be automatically threatening to Libra. But in this particular case, you may be the one that is making these decisions. And by the way, I'm asking you this question about Libra as a people pleaser because you're a cardinal sign and you are capable of taking charge. So as much as Librans may not want to rock the boat, if you feel that a relationship has run its course, you are capable of getting up and filing for divorce if you absolutely have to. You're not totally passive in that regard. Cardinal signs never are. I would say out of the 4 cardinal signs, the ones that are the most gung-ho about taking action are Capricorn and Aries. And Libra and Cancer are more relationship oriented, and they tend to be kind of hanging back and assessing what else is going on, maybe are sensitive to other people. So you may be like that, and there may be this delay before you actually go through with things, but you are definitely capable of eventually getting fed up with a situation and taking charge. Now, this is the past position. You may have found out, you may have realized that something was totally done. Maybe there was a straw that broke the camel's back for you. A situation where you said, okay, that's it. I've had enough of this. And by the way, as March begins, there is a full moon in your 12th house on the 1st of the month. And a full moon in the 12th house can really shine a light on some kind of a secret that has been kept from you. And that may be that straw that breaks the camel's back. But also, it's the 12th house is a house of self-undoing, of addictions. And addictions can be addictions to people. And self-undoing can be being in a relationship that is really not good for you. That's a form of self-sabotage for sure. So something may come about where you make a break. You realize that you are in that type of situation and you're done. And it's like, it doesn't like get drawn out, and it feels very easy to do. Maybe, I think sometimes the timing isn't right. And so it's not that the person is incapable of doing it, but other things maybe cosmically have to be aligned for it to be the right time. Who knows? But sometimes, you know, you may struggle to let something go or let someone go, and then when it's the right time, you're like, bam, that's it. So right now, as I said, we have the Justice. Now, this could be that you are realizing that the relationship is unfair, that it's imbalanced, that you are giving more than you're getting. That could just simply be what it is. I do feel that the issue of divorce, you know, or including the legal system into this may definitely be on the minds of some people, because the Death card is so, you know, black and white, that it's just, it's all over but the shouting, you know. And so you may be thinking about it, kicking it around in your head. Maybe you haven't fully committed to the idea, but you're, and it could be because of these outside influences that I was talking about, but you still are feeling like this is what's going to happen one way or the other. The higher message is the King of Wands. Kings can be fathers. And as a spiritual message, this may be looking at a pattern in your life. Now, if you had a father, obviously I'm kind of gearing this towards women because the majority of the people watching this will be women. And because the king, I'm going to tend to assign the gender. This is a very masculine energy. This isn't even, you know, a split decision here. This is very yang energy. But even a guy, I mean, especially if you're, you know, this could be like your father, your influence of your father as well. It doesn't have to be a female. But you may have, I wanted to just talk about women specifically, where you may have had a father who was larger than life in some way, who exuded this kind of, I don't know if we would say stereotypical, because I don't want to make it into something bad, but this person who came across as very bold and confident as a man. And if you had a father like that, you may gravitate towards men who you think have similar qualities. Now this man, it's not in the reverse position, so I'm taking it as something positive. But let's assume that there was some control issues or something like that. You may have gravitated towards men who are very take charge to the point where they're very controlling, and eventually that gets old and you feel this sense of oppression even. I'm thinking of the sign of Aries, which is the opposite sign to you. So if this is literally an Aries person, the two of you may have really butted heads, because it's like you're both cardinal signs. You may feel like neither one was willing to submit to the other ever in the relationship, or maybe you were the one that was always having to give in, and eventually that wore you down. But as a spiritual message, it's looking at what are your expectations for a partner. Is this your template for what a man is? And can you ever be attracted to a man who may be a little bit less outwardly trying to conquer, you know, his territory, who's maybe a little bit more passive, maybe a little bit less aggressive? And maybe that's more your speed, and more that would suit you better. So if you're the kind of person who has one type, and this is kind of modeled on a subconscious level on your father or another male who was very influential in your life, maybe you have it kind of stuck in that way of thinking, and you need to like expand what it is that attracts you. That's all I can think about, unless it could be too from the spiritual perspective that if your father has crossed over, maybe your father is helping you. I mean, that's always a possibility with the spiritual position of this card. Or even that you know, you're looking for somebody, like, you know, comparing every person to that, to your father, and it's not, they're not measuring up, and that's not fair, you know, to compare somebody to somebody else. What crosses you is the Nine of Pentacles. This is a card of, I'm assuming they always depict it, well, at least the two decks that I have, as a woman because of it's a feminine energy. But this is a card in the upright position would be of a financially independent woman. Or at least, let's just say a person, okay? And so in the reverse position, this could indicate a materialistic mindset. And if this is in any way the case, I know that Librans like to have nice things, let's face it. Nice clothing, nice experiences, nice surroundings, and that takes money. And so if you find yourself, maybe not in a calculated way, but it just turns out to be that you tolerate certain behaviors if the person has makes a good living, and that is like a major draw to you or another person, then you have to question why you feel that way. And sometimes it can be because maybe you grew up where you didn't have a lot of nice things. You had secondhand clothing. You didn't live in a nice house. And as a Libra, you suffered more than the average person would because you dislike inharmonious surroundings. It's all about what you value. And if that becomes the prime thing that you go after, then you're going to have to accept that you may be with somebody who you just don't get along with. And so you're going to trade in a serene environment for a pretty one or a comfortable one. And eventually people realize that certain things are not okay. And I think that given the cards in the top row, that this is where you're at this time. But you may still have lingering attitudes that relate to the Nine of Pentacles in reverse that you have to contend with. What's coming in, or advice, is represented by the Queen of Pentacles. Now, I see a lot of similarities between the Nine and the Queen of Pentacles. They're both like representing affluence. The Queen of Pentacles is a woman who's kind of like an earth mother. So in a way, you could say she is the companion card in the minor arcana to the Empress in the major arcana. I've never read anybody make that connection, but I'm assuming that that would be. Interestingly, we have the Queen and the King. The King is in the spiritual position of the spiritual lesson, and the Queen is what I would call an active card, because it represents something that may be in the near future, or also could be advice for you. Now, it's possible that some of you will find out that you're pregnant, and maybe you're in the process of separating from a spouse or a partner, and then you're like, oh wow, I'm pregnant. And so you're still going to be tied to this person regardless. That's okay. You know, if your relationship is really over with, that doesn't mean that you should stay with that person. But for other people, this may simply be talking about knowing who you really are in this moment. You may feel like you're losing something, and that loss may be connected to that Nine of Pentacles, where you feel like, if I get divorced, I'm going to be back at square one, and I'm not going to have the same lifestyle that I had before. And the Queen of Pentacles suggests that you will keep the house if you're afraid of losing the house. That's kind of what the Queen of Pentacles relates to, a woman who is a very good homemaker, and she has a very comfortable home, and she likes to decorate it, and she's connected to nature and things like that. She's, gardening and things like that. So it would be suggesting that if you're in a court battle right now, that you have nothing to worry about financially. okay? Obviously, this is a general reading, so there may be other interpretations, but the outcome is very interesting. Now, the Ace of Cups can indicate an offer, but this is an offer of love. So there may be somebody out here who is watching you go through all of this, and they have been waiting for this moment for you to be free, so they can come in and say, I'm in love with you. It's also possible that all of this is happening because you consciously know about someone that you've fallen in love with. And you feel this sense of being free to go after a person or be with a person that you really feel that strong emotional connection to, maybe a soulmate connection to this person. The Ace of Cups can also be talking about the birth of a child. So again, with that Queen of Pentacles, there may be some connection to pregnancy. And who knows, maybe, you know, those cards on the top, maybe you have gotten married to a Scorpio. You know, the Death card connects to Scorpio. Maybe it's not that you're going away from a certain relationship, but that you have gotten married and now you're giving birth. So all of the above is possible, I suppose. But very nice ending to the reading, romantic ending. I hope you enjoyed this, Libra. If you'd like a personal reading, I have love readings and career readings, combination, and natal chart interpretations, everything. Please click on the link below. My website is RenaMoonAstrology.com. Have a great March. Bye.